I have not gone over 2 days without posting any content since 2019 on social media. But for the first time, I need to take some time away because I'm not doing good at all. I'm doing very bad. And
what happened to your vintage style? So I get asked this a lot, so let me explain. So right now I am 33 weeks pregnant and literally nothing fits me, you guys. Not even some of the maternity clothes I bought. But don't get me wrong, I still...
Jasmine Chiswell and Pinup Pixie became two of the most talked about figures in the vintage world.
Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice your punches.
One built her brand on being the ultimate Marilyn Monroe look-alike, living in Marilyn's former home and claiming paranormal experiences.
To my home. This is Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio's former home. Now this is the main living room.
The other built her reputation on authentic vintage transformations, showing her journey from emo style to 1950s fashion. But what started as two creators sharing a love for the past turned into one of the ugliest rivalries on social media. From a permanent account ban that wiped out hundreds of thousands of followers.
So this is me. My name is Pinup Pixie, and my account was permanently banned today.
To accusations of content theft and using a massive platform to copy and erase smaller creators. And a husband who allegedly used his influence to silence critics and deny any wrongdoing. Here's the full story of the controversy surrounding Pinup Pixie and Jasmine Chiswell. The vintage community is blowing hot again as the rivalry between Jasmine Chiswell and Pinup Pixie gets more intense. And with the rumors circulating currently, it's more disturbing than what you think.
Jasmine Chiswell has announced that she is taking Pinup Pixie to court because she believes Pixie stole her fans. You didn't hear that wrong. Not content theft, not...
According to multiple sources in the vintage community, Jasmine Chiswell was allegedly planning to take Pinup Pixie to court. Now, the details here are murky. Some videos claim Jasmine was suing for stealing fans. Others said it was about defamation, but here's the thing. You can't steal fans. Fans are people, and they make their own choices about who to follow. If people started supporting Pinup Pixie after seeing how she was treated, that wouldn't be theft. That's people making informed decisions. The vintage community had a field day with this news. Many people couldn't believe that after everything, after 5 years of harassment and attacks, Jasmine was positioning herself as the victim in a lawsuit. So does the estate of Marilyn Monroe have a case to sue Jasmine for stealing a likeness and fans? You can't steal viewers. People like what they like. It's so dumb because I love them both, but now I'm 100% on Pinup Pixie's side.
For some random reason, I have no idea why, my For You page has been promoting this TikTok beef between Jasmine and Pinup Pixie. And I cannot find any legitimate information about this, but allegedly, Jasmine is taking Pinup Pixie here to court, alleging that she stole her fans. I cannot find any legitimate information, but I keep seeing this everywhere, and I'm like, what's the source to this? And this is over, apparently, Pinup Pixie posting a comment in one of Jasmine's videos saying, hey, if you're looking for such and such content because someone was requesting something, it's on my page. And this started a whole I've not seen Jasmine post anything about this. I went up to Pinup Pixie's TikTok, and she's been posting a lot about Jasmine recently, about this beef between them. I've not seen Jasmine post one thing about it. Not that I can find. And I'm thinking, is this a one-sided thing? And Jasmine's like, not.
Whether the lawsuit is real or just rumors, the fact that people believed it says everything. Because after everything Jasmine and her fans had done, taking legal action seemed like the next logical step in trying to eliminate the competition. As of now, there's no public record of an actual lawsuit being filed. But to understand how ugly this rivalry really got, we need to talk about what happened in January 2021. Because it was a career-destroying event. At that time, Pinup Pixie had built her TikTok account to hundreds of thousands of followers. She'd been creating vintage content since 2017, long before Jasmine Chiswell even went viral. But one day, without warning, her entire account was gone. In fact, it was permanently banned.
So this is me. My name is Pinup Pixie, and my account was permanently banned.
So, and here's like the end of that last one. But basically, I started getting an enormous amount of hate, basically saying that she went on a live saying that So basically, I just started receiving a bunch of comments. I probably received like fucking 60 comments being like, yeah, she went on a live and she said that you sent her death threats.
Now you might think maybe she violated TikTok's rules, but here's where it gets disturbing. According to Pinup Pixie and many in the vintage community, the ban wasn't random. It was something that was planned and coordinated. Fans of Jasmine, who called themselves Chiswellers, had launched a mass reporting campaign. They flooded TikTok's reporting system with false claims, copyright infringement, and community guideline violations. Anything they could think of to get Pinup Pixie off the platform was carried out.
Send her death threats. And I'm not completely innocent by any means. I have been petty, I have definitely over the years been a little bit petty. And here's
I don't usually do this, but I've sent emails to TikTok.
And apparently, to her and her husband, I lied about getting hate for years. And by the way, all of these are screenshots.
And the worst part, Pinup Pixie received direct messages from these people. Messages saying things like, oh, she's an awful person. Her ex hosted an AMA regarding the she put him through. Instead of posting our faces, she should get miniature teardrop-shaped portrait tattoos of our pictures under her eyes. Think about that for a second. A creator who had been doing vintage content for years was being erased by fans of someone who only blew up during the pandemic. The vintage community was shocked. This wasn't just fan drama anymore. It was professional sabotage. By removing a competitor's platform, these fans ensured that Jasmine remained the dominant Marilyn Monroe voice on TikTok.
TikTok, y'all ban the wrong people off of TikTok. Y'all are doing this to Pinup Pixie, and I remember when y'all did this to Ani Tyler Thanos. Y'all are banning the wrong people. There are numerous people with millions of followers who should be banned. But you don't, even though numerous of people have reported their accounts because of what they did, and y'all have done nothing because it doesn't violate TikTok guidelines. Your system is screwed.
And here's the thing that made people even angrier. When Pinup Pixie was losing everything she'd built, Jasmine Chiswell stayed silent. She never told her fans to stop and never addressed the harassment. But the account ban was just the beginning. What happened next showed a pattern that would repeat over and over again. In early 2021, Pinup Pixie created something new. She called it Vintage TV. The concept was simple but creative. She would appear as if she were on a 1950s television show, complete with grain filters, old-fashioned commercials, and that classic transatlantic accent.
And by the way, there's a name for you ladies, but it isn't used in high society, outside of a kennel. So long.
The videos went viral and people loved them. It was fresh, fun, and uniquely hers. But then just a few weeks later, Jasmine Chiswell posted her own version, and this time she did something unique but yet pointed in the same direction as a vintage show. Now, if this were just one person being inspired by another, that'd be fine. Trends happen on TikTok all the time. But here's the problem. Jasmine had millions more followers than Pinup Pixie. So when people searched for vintage TV or 1950s television, whose video showed up first? Not Pinup Pixie's, and of course not the original creators, but that of Jasmine Chiswell's. The community calls this content overwriting. By using her massive platform to recreate the exact same idea, Jasmine effectively erased Pinup Pixie from the conversation. New viewers thought Jasmine came up with it first, and Pinup Pixie looked like the copycat. When fans started pointing this out in the comments, asking Jasmine if she got the idea from Pinup Pixie, the comments mysteriously disappeared. And as for Jasmine, she doubled down and kept making more vintage TV content, acting like the concept was hers all along. Now, as all of this was happening, people started calling out Jasmine and her husband, Maverick. They wanted answers, and for her to tell her fans to stop the harassment. But instead of addressing it, Maverick stepped in and made everything worse. In mid-2021, when people showed Maverick actual screenshots and video proof of Chiswellers harassing Pinup Pixie and getting her account banned, he claimed the proof doesn't exist. And he even went forward, telling the guy to apologize to Chiswell in the comments section. Not that he disagreed with it and was taken out of context. He literally decided to close his eyes to those accusations. Then, in a joint response video, Maverick went on the attack in the comments section. He called the accusations made up to bully and hate on a good and said that people didn't know what they went through during those times. I just saw his Snapchat posts and I'm in complete shock. He has no clue what we went through and doesn't understand. What he said and did was wrong, accusing Jasmine faking a miscarriage for clout. It's on this Snapchat. Literally, Maverick dismissed the entire vintage community and acted like people were lying, like the hundreds of screenshots, the using comments, and the banned accounts were all just fake. The community was furious. They had receipts, proof, and direct messages from Jasmine's fans bragging about hating on Pinup Pixie, and yet Maverick was telling them it never happened. But it gets even shadier. People started noticing something strange. Negative comments on Jasmine's videos would disappear within minutes. Not just one or two, hundreds of them. Some in the community accused Maverick of using bots or paying for comment moderation to bury any criticism. Whether that's true or not, one thing was clear. Any negative feedback about Jasmine vanished almost immediately, and this created a huge problem, because Maverick acted as the bad cop to Jasmine's good cop. He could be aggressive, dismissive, and hostile, while Jasmine maintained her sweet, innocent Marilyn Monroe persona. It was the perfect strategy. Jasmine never had to get her hands dirty. Maverick did it for her, and when people called them out, they could always say, "But Jasmine is so kind and gentle. How dare you attack her?" Unfortunately, after months of pressure from the vintage community, Jasmine finally addressed the drama in April 2021. And what she said shocked everyone. In the video, Jasmine wore a white vintage dress and spoke in a soft, distressed tone. She said that rumors and lies were being spread about her, that she was the one being bullied, that people were attacking her for no reason.
And for me, like with social media, like it comes with, it's very different because it comes where people start making up rumors, they make up lies about you. It's like, and you know what? It's like when you are that person that they're saying this, it's like you can't really defend yourself because then no.
She angled her face away from the camera. She shook her head while saying positive things. Body language experts in the community pointed this out as a sign of insincerity. You notice how she barely looks at the camera when she's talking and she's angled not facing the camera. But here's the real problem with that video. She never once apologized for what her fans have done to Pinup Pixie for years. She never acknowledged the mass reporting campaigns or even admitted that other vintage creators were getting bullied off the platform. Instead, she made it all about herself. And one person from the vintage community called it a strange behavior, saying, "Why is she so adamant about not condemning bullying? Pretend her followers weren't the ones do it. No harm is going to come for her making it clear that that is not something she condones or supports." The vintage community saw right through it. They called it gaslighting. They said she was playing the victim while her fans continued to destroy other creators' careers. I used to like her, and then slowly I started to really hate seeing her face. I can't stand the way she talks and the way she openly talks about how she's raw dogging every day and wants to be some weird incubator. Some things need to be left in the bedroom. I get the ick looking at her. And another person said, "Her victim mentality drives me bonkers." And that's exactly what happened. After the white dress video, the harassment didn't stop. If anything, it got worse because now Jasmine's fans felt like they were protecting her from bullies. This was the turning point when the vintage community completely turned against Jasmine Chiswell because she had the chance to stop everything, but she didn't. Instead, she chose to play the victim. But things got even stranger when Jasmine started making claims about finding Marilyn Monroe's belongings in the house. And not just any belongings. She said she found Marilyn's actual signature.
And one day when I was changing light bulbs, I found Marilyn Monroe's signature above a wooden... As many of you know, I live inside Marilyn Monroe's house. And I found some of her things. So let me show you what we found. So we found her signature above a wooden beam.
In the video, Jasmine claims she was changing a light bulb when she discovered Marilyn Monroe's signature written on a beam in the kitchen. She reacted with extreme emotion, crying and shaking like she had just found buried treasure.
And one day when I was changing light bulbs, I found Marilyn Monroe's signature above a wooden beam. Random things that we have.
Her fans went wild. They flooded the comments with messages like, "Have we found more things? Yes. You think she's a nice ghost? I'd still be scared." But here's where it all falls apart. Historians and Marilyn Monroe experts looked at this signature and they immediately called it fake. First of all, that's not how Marilyn Monroe signed her name. Verified signatures from Marilyn look completely different. The handwriting doesn't match and the style doesn't match. But it gets worse. Some people online started comparing the signature to Jasmine's own handwriting. And guess what? It looked suspiciously similar. Think about it. Why would Marilyn Monroe climb up on a ladder and sign the top of a kitchen beam in a house she only rented for a few months? It makes no sense. And then there's the magazines. Jasmine claimed she found vintage magazines from when Marilyn lived there, hidden in an old incinerator for 70 years.
Let me show you some of the things that we found while living inside Marilyn Monroe's home. So these are 2 magazines, and yes, they are extremely burnt, but that's because we found them inside an incinerator. So they do date back to the year that she did live here, and some of the articles are actually circled and underlined. Oh my goodness!
But people checked the dates. The magazines were from 1953 and 54. Marilyn's lease on the house ended in January 1953, so these magazines couldn't have been hers. And how did the 2 magazines survive inside an incinerator for 70 years without being completely burned? It doesn't add up. But the biggest lie was about the house itself. Jasmine spent years telling everyone that she owned Marilyn and Joe, with major news outlets, appearing on shows like Tamron Hall and building her entire brand and living in Marilyn's house. Here's the truth that many don't know. She doesn't own the house. According to public records, the house is owned by her father-in-law, Michael McNeely. Jasmine and Maverick happened to just live there. And it wasn't even Marilyn and Joe's honeymoon home. Marilyn rented the house alone in 1952 before she married Joe DiMaggio, and bank records prove this.
I actually knew Jasmine Chiswell before I knew Pinup Pixie. And what I don't understand about the people that's taking her side is you don't see the inconsistency. You don't, like, why, and the people, I've seen people commenting, and it seems like some of them actually do see the inconsistencies, but they're just like ride or die. Why? Why do you want to support a liar? Why do you want to support somebody who's just wanting to clickbait you and stuff like that? Because I knew her before I knew Pinup Pixie, and before I knew Pinup Pixie, I got to the point with her where I was like, it's getting on my nerves. It started with the house business, because I'm actually a Marilyn Monroe fan, so I know her house. 12305 5th Helena, either Drive, somewhere in Brentwood, California, Los Angeles. I know I said that a little backward, but that's her house. It's stored up here somewhere in the cranium. Her house is not that house she's living in, because that was her honeymoon house. So you're probably thinking, well, look at her house. No, you see it like this. There was nothing wrong with Jasmine ever going, hey, my name is Jasmine and I live in a house that Marilyn Monroe once lived in. She could have took a whole informative approach. She could have been like, this is her honeymoon house. This is the house that she...
So almost everything Jasmine said about the house was either exaggerated or completely false. But she used those lies to build a massive following. And when people called her out, she ignored them. Interestingly, this is what made the vintage community so angry. Pinup Pixie focused on the actual work of vintage fashion. Setting hair, tailoring clothes, researching history, but Jasmine just claimed she found Marilyn's things and became famous for it. But while we thought this Marilyn's drama was cooling off, Pinup Pixie dropped her own receipt and it all went wild again.
You keep saying you got something for me. Something you call love, but confess. You've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'. And now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be cruising. And you keep losing when you ought to know.
Many fans of Jasmine called out Pinup Pixie in the comments section to leave Jasmine alone, but you wouldn't believe the reply Pinup Pixie gave them. She hasn't done much in years about MM. She just does random videos now. And that article is from 2022. It's nothing new or recent. It's the fact that she lied for one, and the one thing that Marilyn Monroe said before she passed away with, please do not make me look like a caricature or a joke, which is exactly what she did nevertheless. When people called her out, she played the victim, got so many vintage creators bullied to the point where they got banned. At this point, it was evident that all that Jasmine had been showing fans was a deceit in disguise, and truly she had no connection to Marilyn Monroe. Now, while all of this was happening, Pinup Pixie was dealing with her own personal nightmare, and this one hits different because it shows just how cruel the attacks against her really were.
So a lot of people picked up pretty fast that I haven't really been myself recently, and you know, I'm kind of being a little bit weird. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. This will be the first and last video that I do on this, as I'm not fully comfortable speaking about, you know, what's going on. I'm leaving my husband. We are divorcing. So that will be the end of that. I will not be making any further videos about it, but I guess I'm single. What a weird thing to say. It's the first time in my life that I've ever been on my own alone. So this will be a very interesting process for me. Wow. This is not a sorry situation. This is simply reality, and I do not regret my decision. I'm very excited and terrified to see what happens in the future. But yes, I just wanted to keep you guys updated. Love you.
After her divorce, Pinup Pixie revealed something shocking. Her ex-husband legally owned her likeness, face, image, and her entire vintage brand.
I mean, he actually told me multiple times that if I ever tried to change my style, that I would fail miserably. So I mean, honestly, I'm just doing my own thing right now. I'm just having fun.
Because their business was registered under both names, he had legal rights to her appearance. And this means her vintage aesthetic, the thing she had built for years, wasn't even fully hers anymore. So what did she do? She completely transformed, got tattoos, changed her hair, and adopted a cyborg and retro-futuristic style. It was her way of taking back control, reclaiming her identity from someone who tried to own it. But here's where it gets disgusting. Instead of showing sympathy, Jasmine Chiswell's fans used this against her. They mocked her transformation and said she was spiraling and claimed she had abandoned the vintage community. One person commented, "Absolutely. I feel for her, but she's old enough to make better choices. Hopefully she gets her arse in gear, or off of the gear, depending on how you want to look at it, LOL. Another said, maybe she was just always an awful person, and it was hidden behind the persona she made online, which is why her husband left her. I mean, I don't know, she obviously is a trash human because of how she acts in regards to people and her situation. They weaponized her pain and took a woman fighting for her legal right to exist and turned it into a joke." Meanwhile, on the other side, Jasmine was praised for her natural vintage look, the same look that was built on lies about Marilyn's house and fake signatures. It's funny because Jasmine, I would say, has been even more private recently since her second kid and has stuck with her niche even more. The hypocrisy was unreal. Pinup Pixie was changing her appearance to escape a controlling situation, but the Chiswellers twisted it into proof that she was fake and Jasmine was authentic. But beyond this, what shocked fans even more was when Pinup Pixie made a decision that divided her audience. She joined OnlyFans and immediately started leaking her video, and many fans wondered if the person they had been following all these years had crossed the line. For those who don't know, OnlyFans is a subscription-based platform where creators can share exclusive content with paying subscribers. Pinup Pixie's account was set at $19.99 per month. Now, as people called her out and leaving her vintage show and going into OnlyFans, Pinup Pixie came for them. She promised to axe any of the fans who will judge her again.
If I really, the thing is I already know who a couple of you mods, I actually know who a couple of you are. Thank you, dear online friends who have ways. I know who a few of you are. Just so you know. And one of you is in Europe, found out who you are. I know who the owner is too. But I'm not going out posting them. I will broadcast you all. You think that because you use VPNs, you're super safe? Nah. There are ways around it. It might take a little longer, but there are ways around it. Trust me. But yeah, so guys ever bring any, if I ever see any of that where it gets brought out or whatever, I will just post your faces. Mwah.
Unfortunately, the vintage community expressed outrage over her statement, and what they said made the whole drama even more shocking. She was cute when she first went viral, but she's gone off the deep end. I hope she gets the help she needs. Seriously, I haven't noticed anything else, but the pet hair all over her shirt. Is she rolling around on the floor of the local animal shelter? What the F is that? I'm not going out posting them. I will broadcast you all. What a effing nutcase. But the criticism didn't stop there. As Pinup Pixie's appearance continued to change with tattoos and a more futuristic aesthetic, it was evident she had drifted from her vintage brand. And over the years, Pinup Pixie stayed relatively quiet about all that's happened. Though she mentioned it here and there, she never went into full detail until 2024 when she decided to cause another drama.
Bright blue sun will suddenly break through, but I don't want to see tomorrow unless I stay with you tomorrow, so I hear the cloud will disappear, the door to happiness.
In late 2024, Pinup Pixie finally had enough. She posted a series of videos laying out everything, the full timeline, screenshots, and messages.
Guys, so I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of an example of kind of what happened over the years. It wasn't just me, but for years and years, I got horrendous bullying. And I'm just going to show you a couple examples. There is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of screenshots that I have. And actually, this is one girl who had reached out to her because her account got banned because she was reported. Jasmine Chiswell never said anything in regards to the bullying whatsoever. Actually, she made a video saying that she was being bullied and that basically made herself a victim. Now, I'm also going to be bringing up the fact that Jasmine Chiswell had a pretty big fan group page on Instagram, and Jasmine Chiswell was actually a part of that group. And all they did was bully me, harass me, make fun of me. By the way, Jasmine was in this group. When you make your whole brand basically impersonating Marilyn Monroe.
She called it her cash out era, and the vintage community was ready for it. I've been a fan before you switched to your new style, and I've loved both versions of you. I've seen the bullying in the comments when you were just starting out, and I would reply, but there was just so much I felt. Her silence was benefiting her, so she took a community and made it a hierarchy in never addressing these issues. Don't let people make you out to feel bad for being the one to finally address the things. In these videos, she showed deleted comments asking Jasmine to stop the harassment. She showed the dates, patterns, and evidence.
So, and here's like the end of that last one. But basically, I started getting an enormous amount of hate, basically saying that she went on a live saying that So basically, I just started receiving a bunch of comments. I probably received like fucking 60 comments being like, yeah, she went on a live and she said that you sent her death threats. And I'm sitting here like, the And basically, it went around for a while that I had sent her death threats. And I'm not completely innocent by any means. I have been penned.
She explained how the ban in 2021 destroyed her career, how she lost hundreds of thousands of followers and had to start over from scratch, while Jasmine's own platform kept growing.
I was almost banned, and she and her followers literally harassed me for years to the point where I almost completely was not able to post on the internet. I almost lost millions and millions of followers because of her.
But more than that, she talked about the mental health toll. 5 years of harassment, 5 years of being called a copycat for doing something she started before Jasmine even went viral. 5 years of watching someone else get praised for ideas she created first. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of comments poured in from people who had been there, who had watched it happen and had screenshots of their own. Destiny swapping is real, and it's not even about vintage entirely. It's about the fact that she was trying to embody your energy. You're so valid. I've been through it before, not on a scale like this. And then something incredible happened. Former Chiswellers started coming forward. People who had defended Jasmine for years were now admitting they were wrong. I'm just really finding your page just the other day. I'm really sorry for everything you've been through regarding the drama. Anyway, I like your vibe, so I gave you a follow. My name is Pixie2, aka Miranda. I love vintage, and I look forward to seeing more of your content. The 2024 Crash Out videos changed everything. Because for the first time, Pinup Pixie wasn't just a victim, she was fighting back, and the vintage community rallied behind her. But even with all that support, the damage had already been done. 5 years of her career are gone, and for Jasmine, she was still posting like nothing ever happened. As of today, both creators are still active. Pinup Pixie continues to build her brand with over 11 million followers. Jasmine Chiswell continues to post her Marilyn Monroe content. Yet the rivalry is not over, and with the Crash Out videos reigniting everything and lawsuit rumors hitting up, who knows what happens next? So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and like it. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Do you think Jasmine should have spoken up earlier? Do you think Pinup Pixie was treated fairly? Let us know. Also, click the next RKH Media video showing on your screen. You'll definitely want to see it.